Streaming on clickorlando.com and broadcasting live, you're watching News 6 at noon.
Now at noon, a co-defendant of suspended Osceola County Sheriff Marcos Lopez is due back in court. Why he is deciding to change his plea. First, though, celebrations throughout Israel as Hamas releases all living hostages. President Trump is in the Middle East to celebrate the peace agreement that's put a stop to the fighting in Gaza and brought those Israeli hostages home. CBS's Natalie Brand has more details from the White House.
Reunited after 2 years of captivity. The 20 living hostages released today are finally embracing their families. Cheers erupted in Hostage Square in Tel Aviv as crowds gathered to watch coverage of the hostages' return and President Trump's speech before Israel's parliament.
This is not only the end of a war, this is the end of an age of terror and death and the beginning of the age of faith and hope and of God.
President Trump, who helped broker phase 1 of the ceasefire deal, used the address to lay out his hopes for lasting peace in the Middle East and the future of Gaza.
The total focus of Gazans must be on restoring the fundamentals of stability, safety, dignity, and economic development so they can finally have the better life that their children really do deserve after all these decades of horror.
As part of the truce, Israel is releasing nearly 2,000 Palestinian prisoners, some of whom were greeted by throngs of people in the West Bank and Gaza. Humanitarian aid is also expected to surge into the war-torn region.
It's peace in the Middle East, and everybody said it's not possible to do. And it's going to happen, and it is happening as before your very eyes.
President Trump and leaders from more than 20 nations are attending a summit in Egypt to celebrate the deal, but also discuss the more challenging next phases that will address governance of Gaza and disarming Hamas. Natalie Brand, CBS News, the White House.
All right, let's take you outside, give you a live look from our camera overlooking Daytona Beach. Just a glorious fall day in Central Florida. I think it's probably a Chamber of Commerce type of day for Central Florida. Meteorologist Julie Broughton's in for Candace with more details. It's kind of a chilly morning, too, out there. Jules.
Yeah, some spots started out the day in the 50s. Up in Ocala, they dropped to 55 this morning. And we'll see more of the same again overnight tonight into tomorrow morning, but really shaping up to be a gorgeous afternoon. This is our Launch Credit Union camera out there in Cape Canaveral. You can see, again, that perfect blue sky. Right now, we are already up to 80 in Orlando, sitting at 79 in Sanford, 78 in Daytona Beach, and 80 in Melbourne. So a little bit warmer than we were yesterday at this time. Now, we do want to remind you, although things are improving along the coast, we still have a coastal flood advisory posted for Flagler County. That has now been extended to Wednesday morning. And we're also looking at rough surf and high threat of rip currents. So even though it looks gorgeous at the beach, just go out and enjoy the view. Don't actually get in the water. Right now, we're sitting at 78 in Claremont. If you are in the Villages, you're at 79. And it is 80 degrees right now in Mico. Now, coming up in just a few minutes, we will break down our forecast for the rest of the day, hour by hour. We'll talk about the tropics and take a look ahead to the weekend. I mean, I know it's Monday, but never too early, Justin, to look ahead to the weekend.
I agree, Julie. All right, we'll see you soon. Thank you. Happening today, one of the co-defendants of suspended Osceola County Sheriff Marcos Lopez is due back in court, and this time to change his plea. Sheldon Weatherholt is accused of setting up leases for an illegal gambling operation. The former sheriff was arrested for racketeering in that operation, which then led to his removal from office earlier this year. Today's hearing comes just days after another co-defendant, Carol Cote here, reached a deal with prosecutors. News 6's Mark Lehman is at the Lake County Courthouse with more on the case.
According to court records, this hearing was scheduled on the same day a co-defendant changed her plea. Now it appears another plea deal is in the works, and it's happening as prosecutors are preparing their case against suspended Osceola County Sheriff Marcos Lopez. 4 months after bonding out of jail on racketeering charges, 58-year-old Sheldon Weatherholt is expected back in front of a judge, but this time it's to change his plea.
All I did was licenses and leases. This was not anything that I thought was anything that it turned out to be.
Weatherholt is one of 4 co-defendants of suspended Osceola County Sheriff Marcos Lopez. He's accused of setting up leases and utility services for the illegal gambling operation allegedly ran out of the Eclipse Social Club. It led to the sheriff being removed from office earlier this year.
I have no idea who that is.
The sheriff, Osceola sheriff.
I've never met the man. I don't know who the man is.
Today's plea hearing comes a week after fellow co-defendant Carol Cote took a plea deal. She pleaded guilty to 1 count of racketeering in return for up to a year in jail and agreeing to testify in court. While she's awaiting her sentence, Lopez's attorney has been working to move the trial out of Lake County.
We are moving to change this venue to Osceola County, which we did already look up their trial dates there and made sure that they fell within the speedy trial as well.
A change of venue hearing in Lopez's case has been set for tomorrow. As for Weatherholt, his hearing is scheduled for 1:30 this afternoon. We'll keep you updated with what happens. For now, reporting in Lake County, Mark Lehman, News 6.
The Florida Highway Patrol is asking for help finding the driver who killed a motorcycle rider in a hit and run in Brevard County. It happened last night just before 11 o'clock near US 1 and Orbiter Court in the Mims area. FHP says the vehicle rear-ended the motorcycle, causing the 61-year-old driver to be thrown from his bike. And that's when the driver drove off. The motorcyclist was taken to the hospital where he died. Now, troopers need to identify the driver and the car. They're asking anyone with information to call FHP at star 347 or anonymously through Crime Line at 1-800-423-TIPS. In Orange County, attorneys will pick a jury for the trial of an accused burglar whose case led to a deadly shooting involving deputies. Earlier this year, investigators say Christian Contreras broke into a home in Pine Castle. Another man inside, Jose Lopez, called 911. But when deputies arrived, they say they saw Lopez armed with a knife and holding Contreras in a headlock, then shot and killed him. No knife was ever found. Contreras is charged with second-degree murder along with burglary. A former police officer whose investigation led to a major overhaul of the Kissimmee Police Department will learn how long he will stay in jail. Andrew Baseggio pleaded guilty earlier this year to felony battery, witness tampering, and official misconduct as part of a deal with prosecutors. In 2023, prosecutors said Baseggio entered a home without a warrant and used force to take a man into custody, leaving the man with serious injuries. Baseggio was then accused of falsifying his report and soliciting another officer to commit perjury to cover up what happened. The case sparked a major investigation of the department, with then Chief Betty Holland ultimately resigning. As part of the deal, Baseggio could get up to 2 years behind bars. His sentencing is set for 1:30 this afternoon. In Volusia County, work is now underway at a busy intersection that has seen its share of tragedy. It is the same spot where a Volusia County deputy was hit and killed 6 years ago, right outside the popular Cabbage Patch Bar. Your Volusia County community correspondent Angie Casada stopped by to see the construction that's now underway, just days ahead of Biketoberfest.
After years of planning, crews have started clearing land at the intersection of Pioneer Trail and Tomoka Farms Road, right outside the iconic Cabbage Patch.
They started 2 weeks ago, and they cleared out the trees, took the right of way. The contractors pulled off now for the event for Biketoberfest, so we'll be able to have that in, and they're estimating around a year.
Roger Lesner and his family have owned this bar for a long time. The bar has been a fixture here for nearly a century, celebrating 100 years next year. And every October, it draws thousands of riders for Biketoberfest. But this intersection also holds a somber history. In 2019, Volusia County Deputy Frank Schofield was struck and killed while cycling through. A county study later found crashes here were happening at a much higher rate than similar intersections. The new roundabout is designed to slow traffic and improve safety, replacing the four-way stop that's been in place for decades.
Hopefully the roundabout improves that. That's yet to be seen. I mean, I'm worried about the flooding issues and the traffic, obviously, but we'll just have to see what happens.
County leaders say with new housing and businesses moving into the area, the project comes just in time.
The one thing I will say is the people that are coming out, when you do come here, it is a construction area to the south side of us. Be careful, be cautious. There'll be plenty of marking and places for you to park.
The roundabout is expected to be completed by late 2026. I'm your Volusia County community correspondent Angie Casada, News 6.
In Brevard County, leaders are set to declare October 14th as a day of remembrance for conservative activist Charlie Kirk. That resolution is on the agenda for the next county commission meeting. It notes some of Kirk's highlights, including reaching hundreds of millions of viewers on social media and other events, his commitment to his faith, family, and friends, and for engaging and energizing the youth who will lead the county in the future. The next meeting is scheduled for tomorrow at 5 p.m. And this comes after a recent effort to memorialize Kirk in Brevard County County did not pass. We told you last month Melbourne's mayor suggested renaming a part of Cypress Avenue Charlie Kirk Lane. But after 2 hours of passionate and emotional discussion, that measure ended up not passing. A manhunt ends with an intense standoff, and News 6 has obtained exclusive video showing a SWAT team evacuating a hotel near the theme parks before a gun battle with a wanted fugitive erupts. Investigator Mike DeForest shares how it all unfolded next. We leave you with a live look from our Mount Dora camera. You're watching News 6 at noon. We'll be right back.
Introducing the new $25 million Gold Rush Multiplier Scratch-Off from the Florida Lottery.
Get everybody out of the room.
This is video you'll see only on News 6. It shows Orlando's SWAT team evacuating visitors from a hotel just before getting into a gun battle with a wanted fugitive. 2 years ago, Dayton Veal shot and wounded 2 Orlando police officers, launching a manhunt. Now News 6 investigator Mike DeForest has just obtained exclusive footage of police taking down the gunman. And a warning, the video you're about to see is graphic and may be disturbing.
The Orlando Police SWAT team goes door to door inside a hotel, evacuating guests.
Let's go, that way, go to the staircase, go.
Adults and children, some still in pajamas, scurry down the hallway, unaware a dangerous gunman is hiding out in one of these rooms. Hours earlier, 2 Orlando police officers encountered wanted fugitive Dayton Veal in a downtown parking lot.
Get out of the car! Bro, I'm coming! Get out of the car! Bro, I'm coming, bro! Bro, chill!
Veal opened fire, wounding both officers.
Shots fired! Shots fired! Help me! Help! I'm shot!
Following an overnight manhunt, police tracked down Veal at this Holiday Inn near the theme parks.
Let's go. You need to come out now. Immediately, let's go. Okay, hurry.
Around 8 in the morning, SWAT members quietly tried to evacuate hotel guests from the 5th floor without alerting the gunman. Once police believed the hallway was clear, one group positioned themselves by the elevators, while another covered an emergency exit that led outside. Officers used explosives to breach the door of room 509 where Veal was hiding. That's when authorities say Veal began shooting.
Orlando, boys!
When the gunfire subsided, another hotel guest emerged.
Civilian in the hallway! Run! Run! He's shooting.
That hotel guest escaped unharmed. About 4 minutes later, Veal ran down the hallway towards the emergency exit, where officers were waiting. A handgun with an extended magazine was found just a few feet away from Veal's body. Investigators now believe that was the same gun he used to shoot and injure those 2 Orlando police officers the night before. Mike DeForest, News 6.
All right, let's get back to the weather as we take a live look from the Launch Credit Union Port Cam at Port Canaveral. Really anywhere in Central Florida, those skies will look exactly like this. Just spectacular out there. Let's get a check of your forecast with meteorologist Julie Broughton. She's in for Candace. It's not a great beach day when it comes to the surf. It's kind of kicked up, but I mean, this is what we wait for all year, Julie.
Yeah, it's a great day to have lunch outside, take a walk, certainly beautiful conditions. And these nice fall-like conditions are going to stick with us as we move through the rest of our work week. A little bit cooler than normal, especially in the morning. Now, as you mentioned, Justin, we are not talking about good beach conditions as far as getting in the water. We do have a high threat of rip currents. And then even as we head through the rest of the week, we're going to see an easterly flow picking up by the end of the week. And that will churn up the surf a little bit more. But overall, we are talking about nice temperatures, mostly dry conditions, and just really feeling great. This is the kind of weather that we all live here for, I think. Now, here's how we started our day. These are some unofficial lows. It was 55 degrees right now, or it was 55 degrees this morning in Ocala. It looks like we have a CBS special report. Let's listen in.
This is a CBS News special report. I'm Tony DeCopel in Jerusalem, and we are coming back on the air with the latest on what has already been a monumental day here, a monumental moment unfolding in the Middle East. All 20 living Israeli hostages already reunited with their loved ones today after more than 2 years in captivity, a joyful moment, part of a historic ceasefire deal. It was all men in this release, and here are some of the moments of reunion. Fathers with their mothers, with their daughters, with their families, their wives, for the first time in so long in each other's embrace and back in their home country. And also reasons to rejoice among Palestinians as aid rolls into Gaza after far too long, buses with prisoners as well, and detainees swapped for Israeli hostages, those moments. But now the next chapter. President Trump arrived in the Egyptian city of Sharm el-Sheikh and is now taking part in a signing ceremony in support of the agreement with other world leaders. Earlier, if that wasn't enough news for you, the president gave a speech to the Israeli parliament, and there has been joy across this region, in Israel and also beyond. Let's listen into the president right now, who has just begun to speak.
And it's really working out incredibly well. The hostages, as you know, were let go on time, on schedule. The very sad situation of bodies, which was always a sad situation, and they're being sought out, and they're working with many different people, finding some were brought in and some were not, and they're working out to find out where those bodies are. It's hard to believe that you even have to say something like that. It's so sad. It's so sad. But what's not sad is that we have finally, after, I guess they say 3,000 years, I've heard from 3,000 years to 500 years, but whatever it is, it's a lot. But this was the one, this was the granddaddy of them all, and frankly, I thought this was probably going to be the toughest, and maybe in many ways it was, but we had a lot of good talent. Steve Witkoff, Jared, Marco, and Pete, and General Kane was so great. John Ratcliffe was incredible. We had an amazing array of talent, and we were helped by, in particular, the countries represented at this table. I will say, to me, you were fantastic, and your country is unbelievable, and I don't think they give you a fair shake. They talk about you as though you're not a nice person, and you happen to be a nice person. You happen to live in a little tough neighborhood. You're surrounded by everybody. And without you, this wouldn't have happened. And I just want to thank you very much. That's Qatar. And he's a great friend. He's an amazing leader. And another man who's been a friend of mine for a long time. I don't know what it is. I like the tough people better than I like the soft, easy ones. I don't know what the hell that is. It's a personality problem, I suspect. But this gentleman from a place called Turkey has one of the most powerful armies actually in the world. It's much more powerful than he even lets known. If you look at some of the recent conflicts, he was at the top of them and he was winning them, and he did win them. And he doesn't want any credits, he doesn't want anything, he just wants to be left alone. He's a tough cookie, but he's been my friend. And every time I've ever needed him, he's been there for me. So I just want to thank President Erdogan, Turkey. And they don't have a problem with him because he is difficult. They call me, they said, would you do me a favor, could you speak to Erdogan? And I do, and he never fails us, right, General? He never fails. He's amazing. So I just want to thank you for the friendship. It's great. Thank you very much. And then, of course, we have the host tonight, and I just want to thank you very much. There was a reason we chose Egypt, because you were very helpful, and very, very helpful. Everybody wanted to have this, but we really thought it was appropriate. And you are a great leader. We have very little crime. We have problems that other countries don't have, and of course, nothing's perfect. But the job you do is amazing, and I want to thank you. Another one, we've been my friend right from the beginning. During the campaign against crooked Hillary Clinton, have you heard of her? We were both downstairs waiting to go up to meet this gentleman who has a place called Egypt, the oldest civilization. They say 6,000 years. China is 5,000 years, but you're actually number one, 6,000 years. Can you believe it? But the oldest, they say, civilization. But so I went up to meet him first, and we liked each other so much that she waited for about an hour and a half. And I think your meeting lasted about 2 minutes with her. So I always remembered that. But that was our first meeting. We had great chemistry together. And he's a fantastic man and a fantastic general, by the way. He's a great president. And I want to thank Egypt and all of your representatives for treating us all so well. So we're really representative of a whole group of nations, and they're sitting behind us, and you know most of them. I can tell you this guy's got so much money. They all have so much money. There's more money and power sitting behind us. I love that they're behind us. We've never been sitting behind anybody before. This is a very unique position for them, but they are seriously, they're among the most powerful countries in the world, the richest countries in the world, and there's never been really an assemblage like what we have today. I don't think I've never seen it anyway. And I want to thank everybody for being with us. Man, I just solved the war for him. Azerbaijan. Oh, you got doing a good job? Where did you come picture here? Where's Arius? You guys are still getting along, right? They fought for 32 years. In about 1 hour, we settled it, right? And they like each other now, too. That's great. Well, I want to thank everybody for being here. Italy, she's a very strong ruler. She's doing a great job. You're doing a great job. Thank you very much. So many, but we're actually going to be making a speech after this, so this is just a very important signing, but we're doing a signing, then we're doing a speech, and then I may stay behind with the leaders just to talk about that, some things without the press. I want to thank the media for you've been so respectful on this deal. You know the deal, and I really, it was so pleasant to watch. I was on the plane for quite a while listening to the various newscasts, and they were all fair. They were talking about how incredible this is. This is an incredible day for the world, let alone the Middle East. So I just wanted to thank the media. They really treated it with respect. I wish you could be like that on other things, but that's perhaps too much to ask for. But on this, tremendous, everybody feels the same. Just tremendous respect, and we appreciate it very much. Can we get the documents, please? Okay. Okay.
You are watching a historic moment here in Egypt at Sharm el-Sheikh, Egyptian city, as President Trump, surrounded by other world leaders, signs a ceremonial document behind a banner that says "Peace in the Middle East." This is to commemorate today's milestone moment, the release of the hostages, aid into Gaza, and the first step toward this broader peace plan that could lead in a very good direction. The president calls it a new day in the Middle East. 3,000 years, he just said, to get to this point. Also, many hours behind schedule as I bring in CBS News Chief White House correspondent Nancy Cordes. We are behind today, Nancy, as you travel with the president or in Sharm el-Sheikh. We are behind, but this is no less important for it. It is a big day. There is no hiding that. What stood out to you so far?
Well, the fact, Tony, that these leaders are all signing on to this document at all is interesting. Technically, they don't need to sign on to the deal. Israel and Hamas have already signed on. But it's a recognition, I think, that if this peace deal is going to survive and flourish and lead to a final end to the war, it is going to require both support and pressure from the wider world, not just regional leaders, but even some of the European leaders who have traveled here on short notice to be in that room with President Trump. Pressure because there are going to be parts of this deal that both Israel and Hamas balk at. Israel, for example, is going to push back if it's required to withdraw from Gaza entirely before Israel feels that all the milestones have been reached. Hamas, because the deal calls on Hamas fighters, if they want to stay in Gaza, to hand over their weapons, something that some Hamas members are not going to be thrilled to do. And so it is going to require pressure from the surrounding Middle Eastern neighborhood and the wider world. And it's also, frankly, going to require a lot of money, particularly from wealthy Middle Eastern countries, to rebuild Gaza and rebuild it fast enough that people can get back to some form of daily life, with a functioning economy, with schools, with some kind of police force, with a governing body. All of these things are required for life to resume in Gaza. That's the kind of fine print that has not been worked out yet. So that's what the president is discussing with these world leaders today.
Yeah, Nancy, on that point about the fine print, our partners at the BBC have been reporting that there are already clashes inside Gaza between Hamas security forces and armed clans within the Strip. We don't know what they're over exactly, but the idea of an international stabilization force, something detailed in this plan, can't come together soon enough, because without it, it's not clear who will fill that leadership vacuum there. And as we talk about who's in attendance, it's also notable who is not in attendance. Of course, Hamas not in attendance, not invited. Iran not in attendance. And also the Prime Minister of Israel. He was invited at the very last minute, we saw earlier today, and for a moment it appeared he had accepted that invitation, but then a moment later said he could not attend because of the proximity to the Israeli holiday, which came into being here as night fell. So there's a lot of people in the room who can make a difference, and yet also some key people in the room who will not be able to sway things one way or the other, even as so many key details remain to be seen. I do have a question for you, Nancy, on the phases we keep talking about. Phase one of this peace plan was the hostage release and the speeding of aid into Gaza, the ceasefire. We talk about phase two. Are we witnessing phase two right now in Egypt?
We are witnessing the leaders talk about phase two and what it would entail. You know, you mentioned, Tony, this stabilization force. Currently, that is a figment of these leaders' imaginations. This is something that is written down in a document. The fact that there is going to be an international stabilization force, essentially peacekeepers, who come into Gaza to prevent things like the clashes that you were just mentioning, and to ensure that this ceasefire continues to hold. But who's going to make up that international force? How many countries will contribute troops? What kinds of troops? What missions will they perform? What roles won't they perform? All of these are questions that still need to be determined.